Our politically incorrect segment tonight. President Trump created a media firestorm yesterday when he tweeted, and I quote, "Lightweight Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, a total flunky for Chuck Schumer and someone who would come to my office begging for campaign contributions not so long ago and would do anything for them, is now in the ring fighting against Trump. Very disloyal to Bill and crooked. Used." Senator Elizabeth Warren responded on Gillibrand's behalf, saying also on Twitter, quote, "Are you really trying to bully, intimidate, and slut-shame Senator Gillibrand? Do you know who you're picking a fight with? Good luck with that, Donald Trump. Nevertheless, hashtag she persisted." And yes, you heard that correctly. Warren might have just inadvertently called Gillibrand a slut. But while mainstream media outlets were quick to accuse President Trump of sexism, they refused to even look at Senator Gillibrand's political career and her record of political opportunism, which is what the president was talking about in the first place. With me now, from the Daily Caller, Amber Athey. Amber, good to see you.
Good to see you too, Liz.
Amber, sometimes these are my favorite kind of stories because the Democrats betray exactly how much in the gutter their minds are here. But correct me if I'm wrong, but did Senator Elizabeth Warren call Senator Gillibrand a slut?
You know what? She kind of did. So it was a really strange defense on Elizabeth Warren's behalf, because the whole feminist idea of slut shaming is that women can be, as sexually promiscuous as they want, but men can't criticize them for it because that's some kind of double standard. So by responding to this tweet, by accusing Trump of slut shaming, Senator Warren is saying, I'm not offended by the fact that you accused my colleague of engaging in improper or unethical sexual behavior. I'm offended by the fact that you criticized her for doing so. She necessarily implied that Gillibrand had engaged in that kind of behavior, or if she had, it wouldn't be right to criticize her. Basically, my colleague can be as much of a slut as she wants to, and no one can call her out for it because that's just anti-feminist.
And don't you just wonder if Senator Warren actually knows what the term slut-shaming in our popular culture means, or if she got it wrong here? Because if she knew what it means, then this story is even bigger than that which we are talking about right now. But it actually, in the whole scheme of things, I mean, I looked at Trump's tweet, and I mean, it looks pretty typical to me. I did not read anything into it of a sexual nature. To me, it looked like he was talking about the fact that she flips and flops and will do anything for political donations or political support or in campaign contributions, as Trump is talking about. Am I missing something?
That was the exact same reaction that I had when I first read the tweet, was that he was talking about her being really willing to do anything politically to get campaign contributions. And of course, as you mentioned, she has a history of moving further to the left in order to do so. Of course, Democrats immediately jumped on this because it's basically a political ploy. They already view Trump as being sexist. It's really easy for them to read this into the tweet, even if it's not really there. Of course, Trump has used the same exact language about so many other politicians, including Ted Cruz and Mitt Romney, who he infamously told or said he would get on his knees for campaign contributions. So I really didn't see anything sexist here. This is a common theme from the president. And it's even more of a political ploy from the Democrats because they don't react the same way when people make sexist attacks on conservatives that are really much worse. A great example was when Chelsea Handler referred to Sarah Huckabee Sanders as a harlot, and not a single Democrat denounced her. I mean, obviously Chelsea Handler isn't the president, but she's a big voice in progressive feminist politics. So their silence on that and their selective outrage on the Gillibrand tweet is really telling.
Right, or like I said, I agree with you 100%, but like I said in the introduction too, the left's refusal to look at Gillibrand's history here when it comes to, I guess, associating with known political sexists. I mean, there's a photograph of her holding the hand of Bill Clinton. You couldn't find a more sexist politician than Bill Clinton here, and this really got me. So the comment that you were talking about that Trump made about Romney getting on his knees, first of all, we have a video of that, and I want to show our viewers.
He was begging for my endorsement. I could have said, Mitt, drop to your knees. He would have dropped to his knees.
Okay, so the point of showing this is that Gillibrand was asked if she thought that comment was sexist because it's a little bit more overtly sexual than what Trump tweeted about her. She responded by saying, "I don't know."
Yeah, that's really convenient, right? Only cry sexism when it negatively affects you. Obviously, Democrats are just willing to throw sexism anytime there's any kind of criticism or attack on a woman, even if it's not really there, even if there are much worse examples elsewhere. And I love that you brought up Gillibrand's history with Bill Clinton because she's proven herself to be a convenient political opportunist because she, of course, campaigned with him. And now that all of a sudden Bill Clinton is being his sexual harassment and assault claims are finally being looked at seriously by members of the media. Now all of a sudden she's saying that he should have resigned when he had that affair with Monica Lewinsky. And of course, all of that is not even to mention the fact that Democrats still have Senator Al Franken in the Senate. Of course, he said he's going to resign. We still don't have a date on when he's going to do so. And now that Roy Moore lost in Alabama, there's even more pressure there. So I'd love to see Democrats stop accusing Trump of sexism when it's not there and instead focus on these things in their own party that they need to deal with.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. But this is their strategy. I mean, they started out probably even before the election, but just for good measure, we'll give them up to the actual day of Trump's election here. Their strategy when they started out is Trump is a racist, he's a xenophobic, he's Islamophobic, basically just a white supremacist they accused him of being. Well, that turned out to not be true. We didn't see that implemented in any of his policies. We didn't see that implemented in anything that he said. They read too much in it and it was debunked. So they moved on to attack number 2. They said, well, Trump colluded with Russia. He's not the legitimate president here because he or members of his campaign worked with the Russians to try to sabotage Hillary Clinton. That was illegal. It was treason, they said. Well, the investigation has been going on for over a year, and there is zero evidence that he or anyone associated with his campaign did anything wrong in regards to colluding with Russia. So now they move on to number 3. It took less than 3 days after CNN botched that story about the WikiLeaks emails and the date on that email and how the Trump campaign was involved, less than 3 days for the mainstream media to trot out old Trump accusers. They're looping it back to the beginning and saying, okay, well, he wasn't sexist, or he wasn't racist, he wasn't colluding with the Russians, he's not a traitor. He's sexist again, and they give this tweet as an example. Give me a break.
Right. I mean, now the Democrats think that they have some kind of moral high ground because of the resignation of John Conyers and the alleged resignation of Al Franken, which, as I said, hasn't even happened yet. And it's really funny. It was so obvious what they were doing because they were trying to call out people like Roy Moore and Donald Trump before those two resigned. And Republicans were hitting right back saying, look, you guys have your own slew of sexual abusers on your side. We're definitely not taking your advice when it comes to who we should allow in our political party. So Democrats did the politically smart move, which was to try to clean house, which was relatively easy for them to do so because all of those people were going to be replaced by Democrats anyway. So now they're saying, well, look at us. Look at what we did. We got rid of all of our abusers. Now, why don't you do the same with yours? But it really is just more political opportunism. I don't take them at their word at all that they actually care about women in this scenario.
No, and they're making a mountain out of a molehill because if you interpret that tweet in a sexual way, then you're the one with your mind in a gutter because I don't think any reasonable person looks at that and immediately assumes that it's sexual in nature. You look at that and you think, oh, a flipping, flopping politician. That's exactly what Gillibrand is, so the context fits there. Amber, thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate it. You have 1 minute to tweet me at Liz_Wheeler before we're back with Kevin O'Brien. Democratic Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi claims Republicans are inviting violent criminals and domestic abusers and convicted stalkers to carry concealed weapons due to the Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act. And that, my friends, is a horrible lie. We'll show you exactly why next. Can you believe how low these Democrats will stoop just to shove their anti-gun agenda down our throats? It is shameless. More in a moment.